This is Sarah Hodge, and I'll be interviewing Jason Williams about the history of the courthouse and the old jail.
Yes, thank you for inviting me and wanting to ask some questions about the old jail. It's pretty special to me. This jail was built in 1888. The jail was the first building in the city of Goldthwaite. So it's the original building. It was built the same year as the Capitol in Austin was built. So this is the same era of style of building. Originally, the downstairs is where we're at now. This was the living quarters of the sheriff and his family, and they lived downstairs. Where we're standing right now, I guess you would call the living room. There's a foyer, and then they would wait on them there. This was built before the courthouse, or the first courthouse, and of course that first courthouse is burnt, and this hasn't. The Commissioner's Court, over the last probably 5 years, have put in about $100,000 into the remodeling of the courthouse and keeping it up because it just deteriorated so much. I don't know if you noticed when you walked up out front, there's the lifts and all that. They're redoing the mortar on the outside, so we're spending a little bit more. And I'll take y'all upstairs here in a minute, and you can kind of look and you can see how it's just decaying. A lot of it has to do with not being used.
Wear and tear.
And it just sits there. So. But original here was the restrooms and the shower. There used to be a big old bathtub in here. And so they poured cement on the floors. This is kind of neat because that is what would look like culverts in the roadway now, but they cut them in half, and that's what and then they poured cement on top of them.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So this gate is welded shut, and so what makes it so special to me is that my granddad, JC and Gemma's great granddad, he was the last sheriff to use this jail. So my grandmother and then my mom and her two brothers, Joe Brooks and Keith Brooks, my mom was Pat Brooks, they had to feed the inmates that were here. They did not live here. They lived over there close to the high school. And so they would have to, of course they liked it as teenagers. We get to go to drive the car. It's a long time we got to drive the car. And they would come down here and anyway, so we'll gather upstairs and then I'll answer a few more of your questions. So this is the metal staircase. I asked my granddad one time how he got the prisoners to go up it. He said, well, they only fell down once. So this is where this table right here in the foyer, this is where they fingerprinted. This is where they did all the markings and all this other stuff. And you can see the ceiling goes way up. You can see the deterioration and stuff like that. And then everybody's got their name on there. Janelle, if you'll come over here and look at the door, and I'll show you a little bit about the door. So they put the keys and stuff in this door, in the door box. So they didn't have to carry them. And of course, you open the door. And so this is how the cell looked. And so it's circled like this so they could peek out, make sure nobody's gonna get them. Okay? And again, the padlock there. And then you're in the jail cell. It's all made of steel. This is the walk around or whatever that you can see. It's a long ways to the ceiling. Depending on what prisoners are, they could just wander around and, or whatever. And then this just goes all the way around in a circle. Here This box here is a levers that open the cells on the inside. And so we'll swing in here. And this was the when you're in trouble. Detention. So steel floor, steel beds. Look at the toilet. It gives a new meaning. You're on the throne, doesn't
Right.
it? You're way up there in the air. But that's how they got no lights in here.
Yeah.
And so a bed. So this is basically a 5-bed unit. And then another walk around out here. I'll tell you a quick story. My granddad brought a drunk up here one time, and they couldn't get him to go in, so he shut the door. And he come back, and the guy was standing in the same place he left him the night before. And he shut his fingers in the door and didn't know it. And the guy was, you know what? He never visited the jail ever again, so it worked.
Well,
Yeah, maybe so.
effective treatment.
Yeah. Last room I'll show you. This was the women's room. And
Alright.
the hole in the wall has nothing to do with any escape or anything. There was this is the flue for the cement, the fireplace downstairs that we were standing in front of. And it caught on fire, something got hung up in
Oh,
it.
gotcha.
But what is neat about this room, you still got the same door, is some of the names that are on the wall. Some people ask me who's the most important or the,
Yeah.
the only one that I've ever found that is pretty interesting is J.W. Harding, 1870. But the jail was built in 1888. So don't know if that was written, but J.W. Harding, if you in history, he was famous for shooting a president. So
Which president?
huh?
Which president do you know?
You're in history, you tell me.
The name's not
I
familiar
think it's
to me.
Reagan.
Oh,
So see, that wouldn't be, I mean,
Yeah.
the dates and stuff. This, you might know that person.
yeah.
J.T. Gibbard graduated about 4 or 5 years ago, but I think that's his dad. But again, they just got in here and wrote their names on the wall. I
Yeah.
don't think many of them stayed here. But the hole right there behind you was patched. That was where a man actually went out.
Oh.
And the walls are just deteriorating, and he just dug himself out and then got in that foyer there.
Yeah.
And then the other one that escaped from the roof up there. And he went to the sea. He went out to the roof and then jumped off. So, you want to go back downstairs and then finish up with the questions, or
Sure.
you want to ask them in here?
I can ask him up here.
Okay. Okay. Where's the better light? You want to go back in that room?
Yeah.
Sure.
I think there's really good light in here. You can edit this and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your other questions?
Are there any specific stories relating to the old jail and the courthouse? I know you gave us one, but that's
The
stuff-
biggest thing is this was the center of Goldthwaite.
Yeah.
And this was, it was the jail, but it was
Yeah.
the center. And so they built the courthouse right next to it.
Mhm.
Goldthwaite, years and years ago, Goldthwaite was known as the city of windmills.
Really?
And every house in town had a windmill.
Mhm.
And if you look, you can drive around and you see a lot of whales, but no windmills much
Yeah.
anymore. But the courthouse had actually 3 of them on the courthouse lawn.
Cool.
And the last one they dug, was on the other side of the courthouse lawn, and they were hand digging it. Guy was way down low and got methamphetamine gas
Oh my
somehow, and he died down in the hole, and they couldn't get him out before he died from the gas. So the noxious gas that they
Yeah.
hit somehow down in the ground. Don't ask me, I know geology. But that is, and so this is not the original courthouse.
Yeah.
This is
The old one burned. right?
yes, the
Yeah.
first one burned. And there's pictures of all over, but
Mhm.
this is what made the town.
Mhm.
me back that up. The railroad made the town. And just like everything in the West, the railroad made it. So anyway. And then we were the location, history-wise. It has nothing to do with the courthouse or the lawn, or the jail, but there's a little community, it's not there anymore, it's called Williams Ranch. Williams Ranch is about 6-7 miles out of town. It's between Mullen and Goldthwaite, and that was the location for the University of Texas. It's now in Austin. That was supposed to be the original location. They decided to go there because some big politician donated a bunch of money or something, so a bunch of land. But there's natural springs there. Can you imagine Goldthwaite being Austin?
Oh, God.
I mean, and they wanted it because it's Central Texas.
Yeah, that too. What role have you played in the old jail and the courthouse?
So my mom and my family, they really love the old jail and kind of keeping it up. And I haven't done as much as I probably should have, but it just kind of feels special, you know, when your granddad's the last one that got to use it. And when I say got to use it, we're talking, well, it may not be this old to me, but to you it may seem like ancient, but 1980. That's not that long ago, because I was born in 70s. So, I mean, can you imagine prisoners having to use this today? No TV, no air conditioning, no heater.
Heaven forbid.
Yeah, no TV.
No AC in Texas, they die.
But you can come up here in the summer and it feels really pretty good. You open those windows and get a cross breeze all the way around. It's not too bad. But it's just a part of history, and you know that you want to keep. Some, you know, a lot of towns have already gotten rid of, you know, historical things like this. So I don't know. I don't know. It's just something special, you know, to me. So, but and we've done a lot, and the Commissioner's Court has done a lot. Lynetta Barnett from the Historical Commission has done a bunch. In keeping this going is great, you know. I mean, because just like you, I'll guarantee you can go to school tomorrow. You and the twins and maybe 2 others have been in this whole jail out of the whole high school. They're just not interested, you know. And so people like your grandma's age and my age and your mom's age, we love history. And so, you know, that's me. I just like history.
How has the courthouse changed throughout the years? You've talked a lot about the jail, but has the courthouse?
Yes, a lot of the courthouse has changed mainly because I would say the big Austin has changed. The courthouse is still got its same group of people that they did even back here when, you know, that, you know, you still had your 4 commissioners, you had a judge. You still got that, but all their roles are kind of different. And a lot of that has to do with mandates and stuff that passing down by the legislators that you don't even get. And then it just one after another that just keeps building. And so it seems like your job is always
Changing.
Keeps evolving every year. So you gotta be ready for it. But the courthouse as a whole still feels to be the center of the community. And you know, sometimes I forget about that, and I was reminded the other day during the eclipse. I don't know if you got to come downtown and see all the people on the courthouse lawn. These people from all over the world on our courthouse lawn. I mean, it was covered. And I don't know, probably 100 different countries.
Really?
Not states, but countries were here on the courthouse lawn. And all they wanted, they thought this was the most beautiful thing, city square, you know, and all that other stuff. And, you know, so sometimes I think we take it for granted on the courthouse.
Absolutely.
And the big thing that I wish could come back to the courthouse is there used to be the jail here, the courthouse there, and then right over up front was a bandstand.
Oh my God.
And it was kind of like a big circle. And the bands, because they didn't have music back. I mean, they didn't have radio and all that. They come up there and set up their band and play their horns, and they would play on Saturday night, and everybody would come to town. Everybody was in the courthouse, and sometimes I think we ought to get back to that, but
Absolutely.
we're so used to these things right now that I just don't. But anyway, anymore.
Is the jail still in use for any purpose today?
And it's funny that you asked that. The court just approved the Mills County Historical Commission. They have an office in the courthouse on the 3rd floor, and they are now moving to the jail.
Oh, that's
and they're going to open here, and then they're going to be open a couple of days out of the month.
Yeah.
Different organizations are going to open up in there where the fireplace was. They're going to put a meeting table in different places. People can meet. So if you wanted to have a meeting, you could schedule it with the courthouse, and then you can come up here instead of meeting somewhere else. I mean, I don't know if they'll keep the jail open upstairs just to come in and out because it's so deteriorated and stuff. But you'd hate for something to fall on them or something like that. So, but anyway, is that it?
I believe that's it, unless you have any other thoughts popping up.
And and I figured is this for Coach Seward's class?
Yes, sir, it's for Coach Seward.
I've had several kids call me about the swinging bridge, so I had to talk to them about the swinging bridge. So it was fun. JC and I don't know who else did. They did the courthouse, and I was kind of helping. I was gonna give you a push for the jail. I think you could get more kudos.
Well, thank you.
But it's pretty neat. Like I said, it's been around a long time. And a lot of these people, I wish my granddad was here and he could have walked you through it and told you a whole bunch more. He could have probably told you these names. Oh, I know this so-and-so. But they were different era back then, and so you got to remember that. I mean, your granddad's one of them too, but when they said jump, usually the prisoners said how high, and they didn't have this back talk like they didn't do today. So just a different world that we're treating. Yeah, if you ever want to come back in here or go through it or anything like that, I like showing it. I always like to show my girls that, but look at that handwriting, it's in cursive. Yeah. With a pencil, but how many people can't, I mean, they don't even teach cursive in elementary anymore, so. Anyway, so. And I don't know, you could probably Google some of these people and say, ooh, maybe this was the guy that was there. Anyway, that's it.
Well, thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Hope you get an A.
Thank you.